All right, y'all. So it's been a long day. I'm gonna do some maintenance on my trailer. Came out this morning, I had a flat tire on my truck. Got my new truck, or my new trailer tires, so that's all good. No issues there, but definitely need to replace one of the tires in the front on my truck. It was a long time coming. Just everything seems to happen in groups. And also tonight I'm going over to a family friend, and he's actually going to take care of that dumpster that you saw I broke in one of those episodes, or that, you know, the roofing company broke because they overloaded it, but that's a whole other story. But I'm gonna get that taken care of today too. But in the meantime, I was thinking about something that gets brought up every once in a while. How I started my business, how I paid for my business. And one thing that always stands out to me, and it's almost laughable sometimes, is my buddy Kyle, who you might have seen his video and led you to my channel. He posted a video about my business, and I guess you could say it went viral. I don't know, 500,000 views seems pretty viral to me, at least in my world. And one of the things that always seems to come up is when somebody is talking about my business, they're like, oh, must be nice to have daddy's money. Must be nice to have mom and dad pay for your truck. Must be nice for mom and dad to buy you a trailer, blah, 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 blah. You get the picture. Here's the deal, guys. There are so many different ways to start a business, and there's so many different ways to find money to start a business. If you've ever heard the story about how I got started, I mean, I've probably brought it up in other videos. The videos I did with Kyle is I did it in a very risky way. I started my business actually when I bought this trailer. The majority of my funding came from a 0% interest credit card, right? That's pretty risky. I got a pretty decent amount on a credit card because I had really good credit at the time. I mean, I still do, but paid all my bills, and I found a 0% interest credit card for 18 months. And I kind of had been looking into this business, and I was like, you know what, in 18 months, I can probably make my money back. Yeah, I made my money back several times over what I borrowed or used on that credit card, and continue to reuse it until those 18 months were up. And that was my source of starting my business and getting the majority of my funding to get this trailer and a couple of these dumpsters. Well, that's great and everything, but some people are like, well, I can't get a credit card, and yada yada yada, they can't do this, they can't do that. And you know what? There's so many different ways you can do it, guys. There's so many different ways to get money to buy a business. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. All the different ways that I've thought of, or I know other people have done, to start a business. So let's just start with one. The 0% interest credit card. So if you feel like being a little risky and you think you have a good idea, it doesn't have to be a dumpster business, it can be anything. I don't know, something that has a pretty decent overhead to start, and then afterwards you know that the cash flow is going to pay that off. You can get a 0% interest credit card. Depending on how much credit you have and how much money you make, it's going to depend on how much you get on that card. It could be $5,000, could be $10,000, could be $1,000. And then you use the card, and usually that then continues to build up from there. So that's one way you could do it. Like I said, that is a little risky, but with risk can come reward, and with risk can come more problems. So that's up to you to decide. Another thing you can do, and a thing I know a lot of guys do, start a side hustle. So a lot of people think that I just bought this brand new truck, I bought that brand new trailer, and I just did it all at once. No. So I had a truck already, and this whole business started as a side hustle. This whole business was its own, just kind of test, and then it turned into full-fledged advertising and branding and LLC. I'm not going to say I did everything 100% right, starting an LLC, doing my bookkeeping and all that kind of stuff. I just started doing that, within about a year and a half or so. But before that, I was just running a couple trailers and just seeing how it would work out, doing it on the side. But what paid for that, or at least what paid that credit card off at first, was this. But when I wanted to, add a little bit extra to it and pay it off faster, I also had rental properties. with the, oh, and somebody will go, oh, well, did your parents buy you your first house? No, I lived in my first house. The first house I ever bought, I actually lived in one unit and rented out another. I bought a duplex with an FHA loan, used 3.5% down. I lived in one side, rented out the other. I lived in the really crappy side of the apartment and I rented out the other. So I was making money because I was charging more for their rent than I was paying the mortgage. So right off the bat, making money and living for free. So my expenses are low. From there, that's one way that you can find another way to make money is rent stuff out. Rent out a room, rent out your house, rent out an apartment. If you're gonna, be looking into your first home, FHA loan, 3.5% down to buy the house, and then live in one side, rent out the other if you can find a duplex or a triplex. You can actually get up to 4 units when you buy with an FHA loan, first time home loan. And by the way, I'm also a mortgage lender, so that's part of the reason I know this, but that's actually kind of what got me into the business. I did that before I even got into lending. I used to do marketing before this. All right, so another way to make money. I'm just gonna come up with these off the top of my head. So we started this, back to that. We started a side hustle. It doesn't have to be something with a crazy amount of overhead. You don't have to go out and buy a trailer and try to pay it off real quick. Mow grass. You have a lawnmower? Mow some grass. Mow your neighbor's grass. Make it real small. You do just your neighborhood for a little while. I read a story about like a little 8-year-old kid who went to his dad and said, hey dad, do you think that people would pay me to take their trash out every day? His dad was like, what do you mean? Literally go to their garage or wherever they kept their trash cans and walk it to the curb on trash day. He started a subscription service in his neighborhood doing that, and he saved up money. You need to be thinking like that, kid. How can I not spend a lot of money and make money? Pressure washing. Do you have a pressure washer? Pressure wash driveway, pressure wash houses, little overhead. You can go get a really nice pressure washer for under 300 bucks and pressure wash driveways, do all kinds of stuff. Here's another one, pallets, wooden pallets. Those things that come in shipping crates and everything. Believe it or not, those are super easy to come by. I'm seeing them every day on the street. People have them piled up by dumpsters. People are giving them away for free. Well, check your area. You might have a place that actually recycles pallets. And for example, my area will give you anywhere from $1.50 to $3 for one pallet, which you can find for free, sometimes in like hundreds. There are warehouses that will give them away in hundreds. And you can literally go and drive that over to the pallet place. They'll recycle them, give you like $2 a piece, $2.50 a piece. You find 500 of those, that's 1,000. Think about that. So, little ideas with little overhead, walk people's dogs, babysit, whatever you got to do to actually just stack up cash to get a little overhead to start something like this. Of course, you can go the old-fashioned route. You could go get a loan. You could go to the bank, you could get a loan. I don't like going to the bank for money. It's just something I don't like to do unless I'm doing using my own leverage on a property. If if I have a property and I want to leverage it to buy another property, then I like going to the bank. But just to buy stuff for my business, I really don't like going to the bank. So what I did was I had a buddy who was in the military. He was about to go overseas for a little while, and he had stacks of cash because he wasn't paying for anything. The military was, feeding him, clothing him, not clothing him, but, housing him and everything, but he was keeping his paychecks. And I said, hey man, you're going over there. Do you want to strike a business deal? He's like, sure thing. What he ended up doing was he bought me 2 dumpsters, and then we wrote up a contract together, right? Help your buddies out. Don't help the bank out, help your buddies out. If they want to invest in something, but they don't want to invest in, if you can show to them that what you're doing is working, go to them and say, I said, can you buy me 2 dumpsters? He bought me 2 dumpsters with the cash he had, and I set up a payment plan, and I paid him back on schedule every month, and I made sure to give him 10% interest back. So at the end of the day, I really didn't pay for those dumpsters. Those dumpsters were paid for the work. So I did put in my time, I did put in the dump fees and everything, but then eventually I got that overhead with those 2 dumpsters paid for. And after those were paid for and I paid him off, all cash flow. That's all cash flow coming in. And that's how you need to think. Be like, okay, well, if I can find a buddy that wants to, help me flip a house, he's got the cash. I've got the experience flipping the house. I've got the experience with the contractors there, or, actually doing the work, the sweat equity myself. Be like, okay, hey man, I found this junky house. It needs this, this, and this. You want to front $50,000 and then I'll put in like $20,000 for the repairs and I'll do the work and I'll come back to you and I'll give you 10% more once we either flip the house or go to the bank and pull the equity out. Good idea, right? All right. That equity thing that I keep saying. If you don't know anything about housing equity, right now interest rates are super low on houses. I mean, like, super low. Probably you'll never see them again like this. You know, everybody says that, but it's pretty unheard of to see them this low for so long. An easy way to get a lot of money is to use your house. A lot of people don't realize how much their house is actually worth. So, follow me here. Let's say that you bought a house for $100,000 years ago. All right? Now, you've paid half of that house off. Let's say, even say like 60% of that house. And so now you have $60,000 or $40,000 left that you owe, right? Well, your house has gone up in value just because, you know, inflation. Your house might, let's just say now is worth $150,000. Your house is worth $150,000. So you have $50,000 of equity just based off what you purchased, plus the $40,000 or $60,000 you've paid down. Follow my rough math because it's not going to be perfect, and you know, you can tell me about it in the comments. But what you can do is go to the bank and say, hey, you know, you have me at an interest rate at 6%. What I want to do is I want to do a cash out refinance on my home. And the bank's going to go, okay. So they're going to go do a cash out refinance on your house. So they're going to send an appraisal over and they're going to go appraise your house. Let's say now your house comes back and it's worth that $150,000 we said it was, but you also only owe $40,000. Well, what the bank's going to do is they're not going to give you the whole amount. They're not going to give you up to $150,000 or in this case, $110,000. They're going to give you 80% of the value of your house minus the $40,000 that you owe. So I can let you do that math, but that's a huge chunk of change. It's a huge chunk of change to go and be like, all right, I'm gonna go start a business with that chunk of change and start making cash flow. All right, because you're not going to be able to go get a business loan and get it at a really low rate. You know, especially your first business, it's going to be really hard to get a good loan. But what you can do is you can go to the bank and be like, hey, you know, interest rates are only like 3%, sometimes even lower right now in some areas. And if I can leverage my home and then just basically keep making payments to that, one, you're going to have a lower interest rate because you haven't refinanced your house in a while. So your monthly payments have dropped from what you originally were paying. And then you're also going to have that extra cash to use. And so let's say you get a 2.875 interest rate on this money that you leverage. That's way better than going to the bank to get some kind of business loan. They might be charging 5-6%. Just a thought. So I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to think about a couple other things that you could maybe do to start a business, or just to get that extra money to start a business. Some of these ideas to get the money to start a business could be the business in all. Like that's what you can do. I thought of another one. Flipping stuff. I've got a guy that I work with at the mortgage company I work with, and he's a processor. And one of the biggest things he does is he flips items. This dude is bringing in mad money. He knows his stuff about comics. He knows his stuff about video games. He knows his stuff about baseball cards and all these other things. But you could do this on any scale you want. I don't know how much cash you have. You might have $10. You can go to a garage sale. You can go to a garage sale and actually buy something for $5, put it on Facebook Marketplace, and then sell it for $20. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. That is a great way to make easy money. And then you can just keep scaling up. If you've ever heard about the paperclip, you know, you get the paperclip, you trade it for, you know, a pencil. You trade the pencil for a ruler. You trade the ruler for a calculator, and it just keeps going up and up and up and up. You could end up trading, you know, tractors, lawnmowers, all kinds of stuff. People love that kind of stuff. Easy things to flip. You know, like I said, lawnmowers, tractors, farm equipment. I mean, you know, farm equipment can get very expensive. That's variable, but you know what I'm saying. It can get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Four-wheelers, dirt bikes, bicycles. Bicycles are a really easy thing to flip. It's such an easy game. And if you can just start small and work your way up, you could have enough money to start whatever business you want. Or that could be your business. That could be your side hustle. That could be the thing that, you know, you find you're really good at. So that's one thing to do. Another thing to do, guys, is sell your stuff. If you really want something really bad, sell your stuff. Do you know how much crap we have? Speaking of lawnmowers, I have 2 lawnmowers. I don't know why. I only use one, and sometimes I pay somebody to mow my grass. Do I really need a lawnmower? Probably not. Check this out. You know, I got go-karts. Granted, one of them's mine. Two of them are one's my dad's, one's my brother's. Look at, and then we've got this parts cart. We could sell this parts cart if we really needed to. We really don't need it. You know, we pull a couple things off it every once in a while, but we don't need the whole thing. See that? There's a bicycle. There's two more bicycles. One's my wife. She'd be mad if I sold it. There's golf clubs. I'm terrible at golf. They were hand-me-down clubs, but you know what? They're worth money, and I could sell them. I could sell them. If I really needed money, I would sell them. I've got tools. I've got, you know, stuff in my house. I've got so much furniture that we don't even use. I've got patio furniture. I've got barbecue pits that, you know, were hand-me-downs. I got a lot of hand-me-down stuff because when when you graduate college, you move into your real home. You keep a bunch of stuff that you just thought you needed, and you just find out later you don't. So guys, there's a whole lot of ways. You know, we Americans have so much crap we take for granted. Downsize your life a little bit. Live minimalistically. 3 years ago, I was living in a tiny apartment. All my stuff could fit in this studio apartment. Now, not so much. You know, my life's changed. Things have been great. I got married. I have a lot of crap. I could sell it. And if I wanted to really be serious and start a business, that's probably something I would do. Really look at things and say, do I really need this? No? Sell it. Another thing, you know, back to the flipping, you just start small. Go to garage sales. Look at Facebook Marketplace. Look for things that are, you know, free on Facebook Marketplace. You can go to the Salvation Army. You can find furniture that you can flip. I know another guy who actually just like refurbishes furniture, and not even in the really cool way. He just grabs furniture and he stages it really pretty in his house with plants and all kinds of other stuff. And then he just resells it. Sometimes just as is. He doesn't even do anything to them, doesn't clean them up. And he'll, you know, double his profit. If you're doubling your profit in anything, you're doing really well. But just get creative. Let's go through the list again. 0% interest credit card. Help a friend by having them help you. You know, they give you the loan, you give them money back, and make sure to give them interest. Don't give them just their money back. If you had, you know, you borrow their money for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, make sure you're giving them interest back on it. It's going to be cheaper than if you didn't get a 0% interest credit card. Otherwise, you're paying 21% on a credit card. So 0% interest credit card. Ask a friend for cash that you know you can pay back. Don't borrow money you can't pay back, please. I hate that. That's almost worse than borrowing daddy's money. And that's my big thing. That really gets under my skin when people say, oh, daddy's money. But when I hear people that borrow money and don't pay money back, that's even worse. I hurry to pay my money back. Okay, let's not forget. Sell your stuff. You've got too much stuff. Sell your stuff. Flip stuff. I know I'm going to forget one of the things I already talked about. Oh, start a side hustle to start your business. Side hustle / business. You know, whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do to actually start. My side hustle when I wanted to pay this thing down faster was I had those rental properties, like I said, and it helped me pay all this equipment down on top of, you know, the business I was, or the, you know, the dumps that I was doing with this equipment. So just find other ways to pay your stuff down. And you're good, man. Hard work. You're not going to get anywhere by hoping and waiting and watching other people succeed. It just isn't going to happen. You got to make moves. You got to sacrifice. There's going to be long nights. There's going to be headaches, huge learning curves. So just get creative. Don't sit around. You know, if for whatever reason there was going to be another stimulus check coming out and you would qualify for it, jump on that. You know, if that's $1,000, that is overhead to buy a power washer and do, you know, power washing, or buy a lawnmower and, you know, do lawn mowing. I know that some people truly need that money, but if you were one of those people that got that money and you didn't really need it, that was an opportunity to start a business, and you should be thinking that way. How can I invest my money and get that money back as fast as possible so then I can continue to make more money over and over again? It's the small things, guys. You'll think of something, but at the end of the day, no. To be successful, you do not need mommy and daddy's money. You can hustle and make the money yourself. Be respectful, have good business sense, and, you know, just build those connections, and opportunities will just keep coming your way while you're doing this. People like to see hustlers, especially in today's day and age. They will continue to use you. You don't always have to be the cheapest. You definitely don't always have to be the biggest, but you do need to be respectful and be the best at what you do and take pride in what you do. Do not overpromise and underdeliver. And I promise you, everything else from that point on will start to make sense. All right, guys, get out there, start a business, do something. Don't use mommy and daddy's money. I mean, unless you can. I mean, if you can, you know, go for it. I'm not going to judge you. But if you can't use that money, there are other ways. And I want to hear about them. I want to hear how you started your business. So I want you to go into the comments. And if you've already started a business, go ahead. Tell me what you did, how you started, what you did, what sacrifices did you make. And if you're thinking about starting a business, tell me what you think, which route you're going to go. You're going to refinance your house. You're going to do something, you know, creative and get that money from somebody else. Tell me what you plan on doing. And I want to hear about your journey because it's always cool to see where somebody starts, where somebody, you know, finishes, or, you know, the progress they're already making. So keep me posted, like, subscribe, and keep watching for more videos. Have a good one, guys.